Coach, just your thoughts, I guess, after those efforts.
Yeah, too many penalties, turnovers. You can't win at that level when you play that way. Especially at a good team against a good team on the road, um, you can't make those mistakes.
When the pick six happened just to end the first half, what did that do to this team, did you feel like?
Well, I think you look at it, but obviously, it's tough, in that situation. But I told the guys in the locker room, listen, we always look forward, and I did believe, the guys took the field and flushed that stuff, but it's something we got to learn from, and you know it's too often we're learning from those right now. So we just got to get it fixed.
What did you think of Mazzoli's efforts tonight?
Some good, but also some mistakes that put your team in a tough spot.
So the decision to go with Chase Bryce late in the game, can you just speak to that?
Well, we always had guys. It's been a conversation, right? So he was ready to go, and felt it was the right time to put him in.
Going forward, if Rourke's not available, do you have that conversation of maybe going with Chase over Jeremiah?
Well, we're always going to have conversations. That's a week-to-week thing. So we'll see where Nathan is and move from there.
How much did the injuries impact this team tonight?
When you look at some of the guys that went down, obviously, those are tough to overcome. But guys got to step up and step in there and perform.
What can we expect from Matthew Betts going forward? Did the injury look like he'd be out for long term?
We'll see. It's hard to comment on it right now until we get more information.
How do you try to move forward with this and get back in the win column?
We look at everything. I told the guys in there, you have to grow, and you have to treat this what it is and deal in reality. The reality is we've dropped a couple games now, and we got to clean things up in a hurry. And you have to choose to look at it one way. You have to choose to get better. You really only point the finger at yourself, right? So, there's got to be growth from this group for sure.
A couple, or maybe a positive look at, what did you think of Butler's efforts out there tonight?
Yeah, he always is ready to go. Performs well, and I thought the O-line, opened up some holes for him as well.